Mark Walsh here from the Embodied Facilitator course and the Embodiment Conference. So I did a video on resilience and embodiment looking at body-mind techniques that can be used in addition to sort of normal medical things. Have a look at that. It's about 7 minutes long and covers a lot of ground. That's been quite popular, so I'm doing another one of some things I missed out. So a big one I missed out was centering. I'll do a separate video on that. I also got to thinking, while I talked about meditation and dance and breathing techniques, which was super important, really the important stuff is the social stuff. So being able to connect socially, touch, humor, empathy, three big ones. Now, touch, obviously, risks around this, but actually I think there's actually big risks for giving up touch. So while this may want to be more boundary than normal, you might only want to hug people who are in a certain circle or that obviously don't have symptoms and things like that. Touch is massively important for our immune systems, for our physical, psychological, emotional well-being. So super important. Key takeaway here is that we're inter-resilient, both in terms of practicalities, like when I was sick, I was able to call doctors I knew, I was able to call friends, people offered to drop stuff out of my house and I was isolating. So this idea of social inter-resilience is really important. And I think if anything, this virus is exposing a problem with the modern world, that a lot of us don't know our neighbors or only have a few people we can call to drop stuff off or help us out when need be. So super important we develop and support the social networks we have. Again, that might be virtually rather than in person. Humor, absolutely massive. It's very kind of Anglo-Irish of me to say this, but I think humor is really important. I've worked a lot with aid workers, with emergency response, emergency service workers, and humor's big in those communities, soldiers too, journalists. The reason is that it really matters when things are tough. So while we should take our response seriously, our precautions seriously, let's not take ourselves seriously in this. By separating ourselves out from the situations, what humor does, we're able to laugh at the situation and it doesn't have power over us. It sounds counterintuitive for something so serious, but actually really, really important. I mentioned empathy there, so the ability to connect with other people, the ability to socially interact. You can do that on Skype calls, you can do that on Zoom calls. For me, if I can hear someone's voice, that's great. If I can see them, even better. If I can touch them, even better still. But again, maybe barriers to that right now. So for me, Zoom calls, phoning friends, being able to laugh at things, sometimes just sharing stupid memes, on the social media as well, really, really important, but not forgetting about our social, interpersonal resilience, humor, a sense of meaning. So I've worked a lot with resilience in war zones, with humanitarian aid workers, different people in really extreme situations. And the ones who did better were the ones that had a connection to something deeper. So that's this idea of spirituality. Doesn't have to be religion. There could be a sense of purpose, a sense of meaning, something bigger than themselves. For many people, nature is a part of that. Though I would also say nature connection is part of our resilience and well-being. There's times when I've gone for a walk in the park when I wasn't socially isolating, very, very helpful. Even just taking a breath and realizing we're connecting to nature, the plants in my house, for example. So nature connection, looking out the window and seeing the clouds. So nature connection, really important. Okay, so those three things again. So the first video I did was mostly on self-awareness, self-connection, the strategies we have. I've added to that a lot about social connection. We're inter-resilient, and this idea of something bigger, having some meaning in our life. Contributing to others is a big part of that for me, this video, for example. So yeah, they're the big ones. They're the ones I've seen help people. I hope this is useful. Please stay safe and well.